Today, we'll be looking at the do's and the even bigger don'ts of what you're meant to do when you're doing virtual broadcasting on Zoom, Meet, Teams, and on cameras in your face.
Shall we start with the do's and don'ts? And this, I think, applies for Zoom, Teams, StreamYard, Be Live, whatever you're doing. It is just super, super important. Don't you think, Dave?
I think so. And I'll kick off with number one. I would say, first of all, in the do's, adapt the content to this new medium. Get familiar with the buttons, what they do, how to record, how to mute, how to turn your mic on, your camera on and off, getting your name spelt right, and also making sure it's popping up at the right place as well. And also knowing how to share screens. There's nothing worse than saying to somebody, you're on mute, when you're doing a really busy professional session, or saying, can I share the screen? Have you pressed the button? Yeah, I pressed it. Where is it? It makes everyone look amateur. And especially in a business meeting where you're trying to really position yourself to be at the top of your game, it makes you look like the worst of it. So make sure you know your way around whichever platform you are, which buttons you got to press.
The second no-no, which I think is just super important, is don't scream to the mic. I mean,
do that one again, Ernesto, because it froze for me.
Don't scream to the mic.
There you go. Thank you so much for that. I'll just clean out the rest of the wax later on.
I think
yeah,
don't
shout.
Don't do that.
No, don't ever do that. And don't even do that point again, Ernesto, because it was kind of loud. All right, next thing to do is make sure that you do set up the shot properly. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, making sure that you talk to the camera lens. Typically what can happen is the screen that you're talking to or the person is down here. So you're looking at that, but you're not looking at the person in front of you. The person in front of you is going to be looking into the actual lens. So right in front of me, if I go like that, that's where the camera is. Sorry about that. That was a bit freaky. So even if I'm not looking at you, I have to talk to you like this, and it makes it look like I'm actually paying attention to you. And you can actually get software that maps your face. And it means that wherever you look, it will always make you look like you're looking at the camera to other people. So it doesn't matter what you're doing and what you're monitoring and what you're checking on, it'll always feel like you've got the full attention of the person in front of you. So make sure you got the camera lens right, do the lighting properly, make sure your chair is at the right level, and also make sure you wear something that suits the meeting. For me, I'm spending all day in meetings. I found that just a polo shirt, a formal black polo shirt or blue, kind of fits everybody. They don't expect me to wear a suit, it's too hot, but at the same time, they want it to look like there's some kind of collar on it. And this works really well.
Yeah, sometimes I mean, we have wear a suit and a jacket depending on what the occasion is. I mean, I think one of the things that we need to take into consideration is we have to dress for our audience, whatever that's going to be. But let me just don't derail where we are actually going right now. On the next one, what we need to make sure is that we are about the same size as the person that we're interviewing. I mean, right now, Dave and I more or less are the same size. But if I would be just sitting over here, can you see how ridiculous that looks?
You're a very naughty boy. Don't you ever do this again. Sit up straight, sit up properly, or you never come back on screen. There you go, back to normal size. See? Makes a huge difference.
A huge difference.
So there you go. So make sure you got them right. Now, this really matters as well, because especially if you're doing an interview with somebody, it just looks weird, and doesn't matter how good the interview is. The other person who's watching it, or the audience, is always going to be saying, I can't take my head off it. It's really weird, especially if you've got somebody who's got a pinhead and somebody looks like they've got a big bobblehead because they're getting too close to the camera. Yeah, but balance doesn't work.
So you do the bobblehead and I'll do the pinhead. How about that? So that actually it's just clear.
1, 2, 3. There we go. Having a look at me. Far too much in my bobblehead. And back to normal once again.
Back to normal, yeah.
Okay. Next one is always assume that camera is on. The camera is on, the microphone's on, people are paying attention to you. You never know what could be said. Just because you switch the camera off, but you still might have the mic on, people can tell what's going on. And from experience of being on stage all around the world, there's so many times that people don't know they've got a lapel mic that's actually active. Even when you're speaking on stage, sometimes when the mic is off, The technicians are listening to everything you say. And so you've got to be very careful how you talk about stuff. There's a famous situation with Ronald Reagan where he went through talking about pressing the button and going to war with Russia as a mic check. And it was recorded and it was shared. And luckily, people kind of went, oh, okay, but it could have been used in a different way completely. So be very careful. When you're on, assume you're always on.
Consider the case of Jeffrey Toobin, a deeply respected writer and television commentator who until yesterday served regularly as the on-air chief justice correspondent for CNN. Toobin has been a fixture on CNN for decades, and this story shows how he remained firmly placed among the media elite. Imagine this, a top-tier Zoom call. People on the call, some of the biggest writers from the most respected magazine in the country, along with not only folks from The New Yorker, from New York City's premier public radio station, WNYC, all told, about 20 people are on the Zoom call. There's some breakout rooms. Speaking of breaking out, according to press reports, at some point, Toobin engages in an intimate act of self-gratification, seemingly unaware that a Zoom camera is on.
That's crazy. Now, the next one is going to be never get up if you're not wearing trousers.
Nope.
And it is just an interesting thing. I mean, in the Bahamas, actually was the first time that I ever saw that the police were wearing a really nice hat, and then they were wearing a suit, and then they were wearing shorts. And then I started seeing that many people that were working there were working with a suit but shorts. And every time that I am wearing that I am doing a live, I could be in shorts, but I am aware of it, and I don't like to do it. Do you remember in the Toilet Paper Diaries, what was it, the 50th episode or something like that we actually showed our shorts just to say, well, we are just coping with the times? That was a joke, but if it is a serious thing, just don't do it.
Well, you can wear what you want or not wear what you want. I mean, I'm completely naked below the waist now, but I just won't stand up. So that's why I managed to get away with it. Otherwise, it'd be fun for everybody.
Let's just have a look at this video, because I have a very funny video here that you're going to enjoy exactly on this point.
Okay, number 7, do bring your best self. Always consider that what you do on camera, it might seem like a throwaway thing, but especially if it's recorded, that might be the only impression you get to make of somebody. So because this is relatively new, the relationship we're creating with people on digital stagecraft and digital ways of doing it, it means that people might never get a chance to have a first impression of you. If you were to walk into a business meeting, get into a boardroom wearing shorts, t-shirt, a baseball cap, and you say, oh, hold on, I've got to go and get a coffee, and you walk out again and come back in again, nobody wants to buy from you. So be very cautious and very aware that whatever you're doing with your voice and with your appearance and your body language and your attention and focus on the person in front of you, then they will take an impression from that. People also get tired watching you, not because you're not good looking, but because it's a long time to focus on the cues that we'd normally get from body language. We can only take them visually. So you have to make sure that you look after people properly by making it as easy as you can for them to like you.
Yeah. Number 8, it is about making sure, and we have mentioned it, they've mentioned it a moment ago, about the green screen. If you're going to be having a green screen, make sure to use it. It just looks so sad whenever I see those people that they're incredibly excited because they have a green screen and they let you see the green screen. I mean, the green screen is so that you don't have, that you're using it to interpose something. But if you are just behind that green screen, it just looks so weird and so sad. And people think, well, you know, this is the professional thing to do, to have a green screen. But it isn't.
Have a green screen, but don't leave it green. That's the whole point. It's called a chroma key.
And when you have a green screen, make sure that the illumination, make sure that the lighting is good, because also it can really look very bad if you're trying to impose something and the green screen is too dark.
Absolutely. Next one, don't talk over everybody else. There's nothing worse than hogging the mic. It's true in real life. It's true in virtual life. Let everybody have their opportunity to talk. Some people love to carry on and on and on and on. And it means that people just zone out. They might be smiling, but they've already gone onto Facebook or onto YouTube or onto something else. And they were checking their emails while they're listening to you, if they've still got the attention span and listening to you. So make sure everyone gets a chance to talk. Otherwise, don't have that meeting.
Yeah, in Clubhouse, that is just a rule that needs to be implemented no matter what. It's just so desperate when you're in a group and everybody's talking. Cut it, yeah, please stop. Next one is do pause and breathe before turning the camera on. It just looks so incredibly unprofessional. And don't go live, especially don't go live until you're ready to go live. And we have been guilty of this when we were started. We didn't really know exactly where are we live. Is everybody there? Can everybody hear me? Just make sure that when really you're going to go live, that you are ready to go live. That's just absolutely a critical thing to consider before you jump into the airwaves.
Absolutely. And the way to look at it is, especially if you're a speaker, if you went onto a microphone and you're on a live stage and you tapped it and said, is it on? Is it on? People are going to go, oh my goodness, is it your first time live on stage? You know, there's lots of ways of doing it just simply by even having a microphone like this and talking, making it come closer to your mouth so you can hear it coming out through the speakers without having to ask anything like that. But you'd normally check with a thumbs up from somebody to make sure it's on. Check your settings. When you do go live, just let everybody know that you're in position, you're in place, and they can have the confidence to know that if you're delivering quality while you're broadcasting and chatting to them, the odds are you do the same thing in business as well.
Yeah.
Next one, don't leave your kids' settings active when you go on to your meetings. There's nothing worse than having your kids play with their friends on your laptop, on an iPad, on a phone, and then you get on, and not only do you look like you've got bunny rabbit ears, or you've got sunglasses on, or a big crazy hat, or even you look like a big cat, but you don't know how to switch it off. So you've got a specially scheduled meeting with the senior developers of some products all around the world and some decision makers, and there's money involved, and you look like a big fat frog. It's not good. Yeah. You're better off turning your camera off or just going home. Well, you are at home. Just turn the camera off.
Unless you're a big fat frog.
Yeah, in which case, congratulations. It worked.
It worked, exactly.
But don't switch on the green screen.
Yeah, because if not, you're going to disappear. Now, things are going to go wrong. That is very sure. And I have never had a Zoom meeting where everything goes perfectly fine, or a broadcast where everything is going to be perfectly fine. Now, this is where you can see how good stagecraft you have, digital stagecraft you have. You have to be able to talk if there's an interruption, something is going wrong. You have to look that you're calm, that you're completely ready to handle whatever it is. So whatever is happening, make sure that you look completely in control, that you can talk through any disruptions, any interruptions, because that's going to make you look like a leader, like somebody that really knows what they're doing in this digital world.
Absolutely. And if you're hosting a conference or you're hosting the meeting, it's always worth making sure that you nominate a second who's got access to be able to be a co-host. So if your broadcast disappears, they can just carry on seamlessly and carry on where you left off until you can come back in again. There's many times that I've been in a meeting and just my internet's dropped off. Certainly in the old days, I've had to come and get let back into the room again. That's forgivable. People will understand that, but not if I have to wait too long for it. Now, if you're doing a sales meeting and you've got people with you on the same side, enable everybody to be a co-host. Make sure that they know that if something happens, they can jump in. Same as if your laptop freezes or your microphone stops working, you've got other options for that as well. And you can make sure that you get away with it, at least to make sure that you can get into a second time. Another thing that's useful for this is to make sure that when you are in a meeting like this, you've got a secondary way of chatting to your colleagues. So if your Zoom goes down, but you've got them on WhatsApp or on some text messaging or Instagram or Messenger, then you can still relate to them and tell them what's happening so they can then relate to the group as to what's happening. So at least when you're on the way back, they'll know you're making an effort. Next one is don't go live until you're ready. I mean, do a test run, make sure you got yourself in place, make sure you're happy and capable. I've seen so many people going live on Instagram, on Facebook, on streaming services, holding their phone, and they're doing all the things that you shouldn't do. I'm looking up somebody's nose, I'm looking down somebody's head, it's wobbling all over the place. Now, we've had people say to us, no, just go live. But I'm saying, no. Don't go until you're ready, because you might only get one chance to get people. And remember, you're becoming a virtual broadcaster. You're going live to the internet, to whoever wants to tune in and find you. And if they tune in and they find that you're pretty rubbish at doing it, they're not going to give you a learning curve. They're just not going to come back. And it doesn't matter how good you look and all the rest of it. People's patience for websites is probably about 3 seconds. For somebody who can't broadcast properly, it's probably only worth comedy value. But after a while, that gets stale pretty quick. So I would practice. Go live when you're ready. But if not, re-record it and then put it out as live, and it will still work.
Yeah, this is a very important point, because what most people don't realize, they say, well, I'm going live, and they think it's a fun thing. We're going to be going live. But in reality, most of the people, I mean, that you will catch, possibly you're going to catch on the live run, you're going to catch, let's say, I mean, ourselves, when we were doing the Toilet Paper Diaries during the pandemic, we had over 1,000, 2,000 people live watching. That was just amazing. Right now, we're getting between 100 and 150, possibly sometimes less and whatever. But what happens is that the replays keep on playing, and they're going to be there. And if you have a really crappy video, very crappy presentation, it's gonna become part of history. So the recorded value of a live stream, it's also very important that most people don't even think about.
Absolutely. Treat everything as though that's the only version you're going to get. Don't go live until you're really happy to stick with it. And you don't ever have to go live. Looking at Oprah and Ellen, I mean, how many times have you watched Oprah Winfrey from decades ago? And one day she's thin, one day she's a little bit heavier, the next day her hair's changed. It doesn't matter. It still feels live because the show's recorded as live, even though you know it was decades ago. Bear that in mind. You're now a broadcaster, so do it effectively.
Yeah. One of the things that I suggest, and we have done it for a number of times whenever we have done the show, is create a Facebook group where only you and possibly a couple of people are there, and do several practice transmissions there, because then what's going to happen is you are going to become more comfortable with the medium. It really works. It really works. I mean, it is really sad to see sometimes how poorly how poor digital stagecraft skills people have. So that's why you have to remember, and this is the last point over here, do remember that this is a learning curve. I think Dave and I are very qualified to give you all this advice, because we have gone through 93 episodes of the Toilet Paper Diaries, plus 10 episodes of Fast Forward. And how many episodes have you done from your show, Dave?
My own show, probably about 85.
85 episodes. So, I mean, we have gone through every single one of these points. And this is exactly now what we are doing. I mean, we already know that we can help you become a better broadcaster, not only on Zoom, but on Meets, on whatever it is. We know all the technology. We know how everything is. And this is just an invitation. I mean, if you are at a point, or your company's at a point that requires some sort of help to look more professional, make sure to get in touch with us, because we can definitely help you.
Absolutely. And it's not going to go away. I mean, the thing is, people are not going to come out of lockdown and never go back on. Conference calls are here to stay. Traveling is still a bit of a no-no. It won't be forever. But why would you want to travel to the other side of the world for one meeting when you can do it like this and still see your own family? Some days I know exactly what the answer is. I just want to get away from them. But most of the time, the convenience of just jumping onto a call with immediate effect to have people from all around the world is second to none. And that's not going to go away. In fact, when we have more hologram technology, virtual reality, and augmented reality, you're going to end up with the whole boardroom being in front of you. And that's pretty much a thing now. So look forward to enjoying this technology, and it's going to get more sophisticated. And whatever you do, don't get people looking up your nose. It was a no-no before, still a no-no now. Thanks for watching the show. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you watch all the videos over here. There's 2 choices for you. Or, of course, I'm Dave Crane coming in from Dubai.
And this is Ernesto Verdugo coming from Houston.
And I think we should send a message. Hold on.
What is this?